prices, you can still build a pretty powerful PC for a pretty low price. DIY isn't quite dead yet. It's getting there, though. RAM is really up there. Make sure you get a beefy cooler. Yeah, that's the only other thing. I think he might be sending me one. If he does, it'd be awesome. But I am going to build this one test bench style. So, which I've never done before. I'm actually kind of excited to do it that way, especially here in Arizona. I think it's actually going to help. Yeah, they do. I've heard. But I've heard that the 7, that particular 9850 X3D, is actually pretty good. But if I get the 9, I'm going to have to address that 100%. But either way, I've always been err on the side of caution, when it comes to that kind of stuff. So yeah, keep tuning in, guys. I'm guessing it's probably going to be a couple of weeks, if not like 3. But oh my gosh, like I said, it kind of started to set in last night a little bit. Like, oh my God, now I have to like make all this shit happen. Like, it was all a great dream, but now we gotta, that's what I was talking about earlier in the stream. It's like, okay, yeah, I haven't done a lot of like not live stuff, so I'm gonna have to shoot a lot of videos and then go back and narrate them. And again, I don't want to sound like an idiot. I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about, and who's not going to get a little nervous about that, right? I want to make sure this relationship, continues. So I want a good job. I don't want just a free, motherboard. And regardless, I don't even necessarily want free stuff from them. I love ASUS ROG. I never thought in a million years I would hear back from them. The fact that that's the only one that I heard back from, all the ones I reached out to. So again, I'm just happy to, have them as a resource, if anything, for advice and stuff like that. It's just crazy. It runs a bit cooler. Oh yeah, you're right. I think I did just mix them up. The 50 does run a little hotter, I think is what it is. So yeah, and so yeah, if we do a good job, and I don't think they're necessarily concerned with like how many views or whatnot my reviews get. I just think they want to see a quality, review. As long as that happens, and hopefully we'll keep getting, stuff along the line. This is something that they've just kind of started, and that would just be amazing. Because again, I just love them as a company, not to mention all the extra kind of content that would provide. So again, I have all this community to kind of thank for it. Like I was getting a little low on options, and to think that grabbing a PlayStation and picking at the wound of, I can't fly anymore, well, let's try a flight game, to it actually being healthy. Like, I hope that a story like that can help at least one other person out there, which I think it can. I know there are a lot of people dealing with depression like I was going through. When you train your whole life to do something, and then for whatever reason, no fault of your own, you can't do it anymore, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a mechanic, a heavy tradesman, or some injury happens or something, and now suddenly you have to completely change. That's a tough thing to deal with. But you can get through it. You can. But don't do like what I did initially and kind of withdraw into yourself. Keep reaching out to your friends. Get a good support group around yourself. No matter how hard it gets, keep asking for help. My generation was so bad about that. Suck it up. Keep it to yourself. Suffer in silence. That was just not a healthy way to deal with things. And the whole time I'm like, why can't I get myself motivated? Like, I never had a problem, doing that for myself. And that's just what it does to you. That's what it does to you. It kind of messes with you like that. So again, we jam out here. We try to keep that from happening to anybody else. If anyone in here is having a bad day, you guys are hanging out, better be one of the first things y'all say, so we can remedy that ASAP. But TGIF, guys, I said I'm like a little wore out today, so I apologize. Usually I'm sure I'll get into it, but man, yesterday just whew. I said I just found all that out right before stream yesterday, so it really hasn't even all sunk in yet. And again, Greasy, thank you for all the biddies and stuff there, man. You're so generous, dude. Thank you so much. I was so excited when I saw you pop on yesterday morning. I was like, oh, nice. We'll get to hang out with Greasy for a while. And we lurked you like all day. I saw you working your VR with Crab and all them too. Oh, that is something that I'm going to have to get my sim stuff first, my, throttle and rudder and stick and all that. But VR is on the radar. I think, well, VR is still a little unattainable for some people, but War Thunder VR is definitely under the radar. It looks so fun. It looks like real flying. That is how it is in the cockpit. You are never, looking straight out the cockpit, out the window. You are always in some kind of a weird position, trying to maintain visual. It's crazy. And oh, I can't wait. It looks so fun. Don't you dare. Damn it. Give it to me, baby. Earlier in the week when I was doing well, kind of like the Doritos, you really have to have that timing down to mitigate them passing out. The penalty for waiting, so like if they're about to pass out and you let off, that split second, that second or so of waiting for it to come back and then going in is way less of a penalty than just knocking them out and waiting for them to wake up, because that's a good 6 or 7 seconds. Depending on if they're aced or experted or not. So again, for the newbies, it is not worth it to just knock them out and keep turning. Wait just that little bit, let the screen color come back, and as soon as that screen color starts to come back, that's how you can kind of tell when the screen starts to go dark, let off, screen color starts to come back, get right back in, pulling hard, and you'll be able, I promise you'll cut your turn times, way down. And that's where I just made a really big mistake. I thought he was the only one. I thought that other MiG kept going, but he came back at me and started shooting at me. Had I mitigated that a little better, I would have been able to shoot an IR missile at that guy and then engage that MiG who came back at me. So it is a skill issue, guys. When you die early, it's our fault. Peak of your swimming career? Oh wow, a swimmer. What a great sport. Those are underrated athletes also. Swimming is one of the most full body workouts that you can get. And man, yeah, shoulder, that's terrible. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like even the high school athlete and the college athlete, right, who's just about to go pro and blows his knee out, right? Fuck, man. Now I got to go sell insurance and shit? Like, what the hell? Oh, dude, it happens. Twitch is the way it is with the restart. Sorry, I got behind there a little bit. I didn't know the pilot has a fatigue thing. I knew they could pass out, but the more you do it, the more fatigue they get. And yes, that is a thing as well. So the longer a battle goes and the more... exactly, I'm trying to figure out the easiest way to put it in the least amount of words. So yeah, the more often that you over-G the plane, the longer that time gets and the faster they pass out as the battle goes on. So yeah, you definitely don't want to be screwing around at the beginning of the battle and like practicing aerobatics and knocking the guy out before you ever get to battle, because he'll be all wore out, and when you pass out for the first time, he won't wake back up for the longest time. I didn't realize that when I first started either, but yeah, that's totally a thing. And again, one of those little things that really makes me love this game, because that's a real thing. By the end of a flight, By the end of even a 4 hour, 2 hour flight, just go up and do some training on the way back, you wore the fuck out. It is very much, and mentally as well. Especially when you're working these jets and you're hicking and you're forcing that blood up into your head, man, that's a workout in itself. So yeah, you can absolutely mitigate that, and you get way more performance out of these planes, particularly the Doritos and planes like, the Rafale and the Tornado or not the Tornado, but the Typhoon. And of course, these planes, crazy. DCS VR, again, another one. Nowadays, I don't have my sim set up, and Meta doesn't want to support my, it's so many people struggle with it too. And the heat, they get really hot, I've heard. You have to deal with the heat with them a lot. You kind of look a little bit like a swimmer there, Greasy. I can almost see that in your face a little bit. More fatigue means longer pass out timer. Yep, it's crazy, but so cool, so cool. That's something that could have been so easily overlooked when you're making a game like this. You just set the fatigue and the pass out to what it is. You don't make it, any different. It just is what it is, right? The fact that it's accumulative is really cool. Some people might hate something like that, but hey, if you can mitigate it and take care of it, then I can beat you, Just another thing to master. Makes it not ace combat. So, that was the progression. I think I got this PlayStation when Spider-Man 2 came out. It's like, let's start with something I know I'll probably enjoy. Because again, I hadn't touched anything aviation related in probably 8 years or so. I tried a little bit when I first got home in like 2010. And I actually built this computer, excuse me, sorry guys, with the idea of doing VR and stuff was really new at the time. But there wasn't anything out there to play in 2010. There was like nothing. And then, we started having some family stuff. I ended up getting sick again. I got another spot had popped up. And so that's when we downsized and I just put everything into storage. So when I got the PlayStation a little while ago, I was still very like, can't touch anything air. It was just still too sensitive. No. But after I played Spider-Man, a few Star Wars games, which were both really good. And then I just saw Ace Combat. I was like, all right, let's give it a try. And it just made me totally want to play something else. I was like, oh, that was all right, but is there anything else out there nowadays? And seeing free to play, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me, free? We'll give that a try. But I expected the graphics to be terrible. I think this is a bot. You have to admit, for a free-to-play game, the graphics on this game are absolutely amazing. Amazing. There are games you can go pay $100 for that the graphics aren't as good, especially in a live PvP kind of setting. Amazing. I'm still blown away by the clouds and some of the time of day, the sun, the way they get the sun. Oh my gosh, they do such a good job. I know we give them a lot of shit, and they should. They do have a lot of work when it comes to gameplay and, maybe doing some more modes and things like that. But we have to admit, this game really is in a kind of a class of its own, especially when it comes to the combined arms in GRB. I wish I was better at ground, because I really do. I'm a Marine. CAS is like what we're trained to do from like day one. Everything we do is aimed at supporting the troops on the ground. But you can't get over how fun jets are. All right, where is this fool? He's closer than that. There's somebody closer than that. Where'd that other guy go? But again, thank you for the raid, buddy. I really appreciate that. We'll get you back with the follow. check you out for sure. Especially Japan.